In this video, we'll talk about superiority illusion. It refers to our tendency to perceive ourselves as being superior to average human beings. And this perception is an illusion. It is also known as superiority bias. Driving is a classic example of the better than average effect. Almost everyone thinks they are better than average drivers. A survey result showed that 93% of the respondents believed they were in the top 50 percentile for driving ability. This means that trying to convince your husband or father that he is a bad driver is going to be very difficult. Results from a different survey showed that 85% of respondents ranked themselves in the top 50 percentile for the ability to get along well with others. In fact, a quarter of the individuals thought they were not just better than average, but that they were better than 99% of the people. People give themselves more credit for their success and take less responsibility for their failures than they extend to others. Recall the blame instinct. Research shows that more than 40% of one company's engineers said they were in the top 5%. More than 90% of professors said they do above average work. If that's the case, who do the below average work? As I noted in an earlier video of overconfidence bias, if you are a researcher in the field of leadership and you only collect the data from leaders but exclude the data from the people around the leaders, your results are going to be problematic. Why? Because leaders have a tendency to have overconfidence in their skills and they believe they are better than average. In a survey, 99% of principals believed they set high standards for teaching. 98% of principals believed they communicated a clear vision to the schools. And 98% of principals believed they made clear to staff expectations for meeting instructional goals. Given the high percentage of how principals rated themselves, no wonder the title of this report in Education Week was Are Principals Perfect? If you ask most of them, the answer is yes. I think this applies to the question, are you a transformational leader? They'll probably answer yes. Are you a charismatic leader? They'll probably answer yes as well. If we want to evaluate how well leaders perform at their jobs, whom do you go to ask? Do you go to ask leaders or those who work with the leaders? We now know that under the spell of superiority illusion, leaders tend to give themselves a higher rating than their followers do. The answers from multiple people who work with the leader will paint you a better picture of how well the leader performs at his or her job. People also take more credit than they deserve for a group's accomplishments. When 4 group members are each asked what percentage of the group's accomplishments is due to your ideas and work, the sum of the 4 percentages typically far exceeds 100%. If you ask a couple about the percentage of housework each of them contributes to, the sum of their percentages also exceeds 100%. We are not as special as we think. In fact, thinking we are special is just one more way in which we are normal. The superiority illusion makes us feel we are extraordinary. We are never ordinary and certainly above average. The illusion boosts our self-esteem, preparing us mentally for the bumpy road in our life. The superiority illusion enables us to explain away our failures, take credit for our successes. disown responsibility for bad decisions, and perceive our subjective world through rose-tinted glasses. But these biases can be maladaptive by blinding us to our similarity to others and creating an illusion of reality. The superiority illusion also makes us not take basic precautions to avoid the undesired consequences of our behavior, assuming it will never happen to us. Imagine you were a participant in the Stanford prison experiment. You might believe that you would never do what the majority of the guards have done, such as physically and verbally abusing the prisoners. You might believe that you would be the exception to the rule. You are probably convinced that you would be the good guard, the defiant prisoner, the resistor, and most of all, the hero. Now you know better. One reason that contributes to our superiority illusion is the bias blind spot, which was discussed in an earlier video. We are blind to our own biases because we can identify biases in others but not ourselves. We conclude that we are less susceptible to biases than most other people. We are superior to others. Most of us believe that we are less vulnerable to the biases than others, even after being taught about them. One way to overcome the superiority illusion and bias blind spot is to ask help from others. When self-awareness is not enough, we need others to help us, being the mirror to let us know about our illusion and the blind spot. If we do so, be prepared to listen and not to get defensive. In this video, we talk about the superiority illusion. It is our tendency to perceive ourselves as being superior to average human beings, and this perception is an illusion. Now it is time for you to provide an example of the superiority illusion and reflect on how it influences decisions made by you or the people around you.